Hi everyone, welcome back. Thank you for joining me today for another fluid art creation. So today I'm using some ready mixed paints just to see how they react differently to the way that I normally mix my paints. But I'm also using something completely different that I've never used before. So you can say this is going to be an experiment. So when I paint, I also like to use different things around the home that you can find easily. And when I'm out shopping, I also look at little gadgets that can also be used. And I came across this. So can you guess what it is? I will talk about more about this, but this is going to be my tool to pour. So I'm going to put the paint in the middle. You can see it's got lots of different holes around the side, a little bit like a colander pour, but on a smaller scale. So I'm going to take you down to see the canvas. I'll show you all the paints, the brands of the paints, and I'll list everything in my description box. So be sure to check that out. And I'll also talk more about this, and we'll see how using this might create some different lines and patterns on the painting itself. I'm excited as always, especially when it's experiment day. So thank you for being here, and let's see what we can create. Okay, so let me show you the colours and the canvas. So you can see here it's a deep edge canvas, and this is a 12 by 12 inch. There's my little gadget. I'm using the Pebeo range of the Pouring Experience Ready Mixed Paints. So as you can see, I've got quite a few colours here. I just want to add all these colours just to see what kind of depth we can get with the paints when we pour through the gadget. So I'll just go slowly along here so you can see all the names of the paints. So we've got a silver, a black, a deep magenta, an aqua green, a metallic purple, a light violet, cobalt blue, turquoise blue, and a gold. But I will list all of those in the description box, so just expand that. And my little gadget here, so it's basically a silicone sink strainer. So it goes in the plug hole, and obviously it catches all the bits when you pour water down your sink, and that kind of catches all the bits. But I actually got this in the range here in the UK, and it's actually called an art filter. And they sell a range of all these different gadgets, all these different silicone molds to basically use for pouring art. So in the range, these are called art filters, but everywhere else they sell them on Amazon as well, but they're listed as a sink strainer. So there we go. I'll pop all those details in the description box as well. I've got my colours, they're ready mixed. I've got my canvas on its stand, my sink strainer, or my art filter, whatever you want to call it, with all those holes just there. Let's go. So I always think it's fun to have an experiment, and I have no idea how this is going to turn out. You'll see that the strainer itself doesn't balance on the canvas, so I'm just holding it in place while I take one colour at a time, squeeze the bottle. Remember, these are ready mixed paints, pouring paints. So I'm literally just going to take one colour at a time, squeeze some of the paint into the strainer, and allow it to just organically flow. I have sped up this part of the video just slightly because I want you to also see how I layer each of these paints. And you'll see that I repeat the process a couple of times because I really want that volume of paint on the canvas. So when I lift the sink strainer up, I can then place that to one side and then move the volume of paint across the canvas surface area. So as I said, I bought this in The Range. That's a store here in the UK. And I have noticed that Amazon also sell this. And it's called a sink strainer in Amazon. but a art filter in the range. So if you're going to buy those, look out for those in those two places. So I'm just gently lifting the sink strainer from the base of the canvas, and I'm just going to move it around just in a circular motion. I want to create a pattern. I don't want a smudge of block colour in that middle. So I'm just allowing the rest of that paint that's within the sink strainer to drip through those holes, and as it drips, I'm literally just moving it around in a circular motion, a little bit like a ring pour. That's all of the drips out of the strainer. I'm just using my torch to pop any air bubbles. To be honest, there's not too many, but there are a few there that I do want to pop before I continue with the process. And you can see here how those gorgeous colours have all infused together, and how those lines directly in the middle have been created by me just picking up the strainer and doing it a little bit like a ring pour in a circular motion. So I'm interested to see how this paint spreads across the canvas, and I'm just going to move my stands out of the way, and I'm literally going to take the canvas and I'm going to swirl it in a circular motion just to get a feeling of how that paint is going to move across the canvas. It's a raw canvas, I don't have any other flow extender. I've got enough volume of paint here to cover the surface area and down the sides. So I'm literally just going to swirl it around and now spread that paint out across that canvas area. As I'm tipping the paint over the edges and down the sides, I then tip it back on itself to bring that volume of paint back onto the canvas, and it also allows me to move that paint to other areas of the canvas that need that cover. So I'm just tilting the canvas from side to side, slowly watching the paint travel across that canvas. It's flowing quite slowly, which is great because it means that I have better control. And then I can have a real good look at the composition, decide kind of what areas I want to keep and what areas I'm happy to push over the edges and down the sides. And I'm just really fascinated by how all those colours are really working well together, and those patterns that the sink strainer has created. I'm just tweaking the composition, just moving that centre bit back in to itself, and just moving some of that paint more towards me. So let me now take you in for a closer look at the wet version. I've placed the canvas back on my stands, and you can see here that it almost has that space feeling, that element of space and depth, and I'm almost drawn into the centre of this creation. But that purple and those blues just around those edges are almost more depth and shadow to the pattern that's going on in the middle. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'll take you in for a close look at the dry version. But if you're enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up, give it a like. By doing that, that really helps me reach new people across YouTube who might be interested in the artwork that I produce. So a big thank you for doing that. And let me know in the comments below if you're going to try something similar as well. So I'm going to let this dry, and I'll now take you in for a closer look at the dry version. And you can see that the paints that I've used have given it a bit of a glossy finish. There's no varnish on this yet. I do varnish all of my creations. I use a spray varnish by Winsor & Newton, either a gloss or a high gloss, and that's how I seal and finish off all my creations. I just want to say a huge thank you to each and every one of you week on week for your support, and a big thank you for all of the emails and the messages that you send me. I read every single one. I hope you're having a great week, and I hope you also have a great week ahead, and I really hope I get to see you again in the next video. Thank you again everyone for your support. It means the world to me, and I'll see you soon. Take care of yourselves and happy creating. See ya. Bye.